Welcome to TFP, the Theatrefolk podcast. I am Lindsay Price, resident playwright for Theatrefolk. Hello, I hope you're well. Thanks for listening. Today we're going to talk about Pixar, but first, let's do Theatrefolk news. Free stuff. Free stuff. Everybody likes free stuff. Are you going to be meeting with other theater teachers, having a conference, a weekend sharing session, a professional development day? We want to send you free stuff. We'd like to send you some catalogs, resource handouts, bookmarks, maybe even a door prize or two. Go to our website, which is www.theatrefolk.com. Click on the free stuff button, and you'll see where to click for the free stuff for meetings. Fill out the form, and we'll be in touch. Episode 2. Pixar. Fail? See, there was a question mark at the end of that, so I had to how do we know this, what I'm trying to say orally? And we have to go up at the end of my words. Okay, never mind. All right, I follow, okay, never mind. I follow on Twitter Emma Coates, who is a Pixar story artist. She talks about craft quite a lot on Twitter and gives many tips, throws out a lot of ideas. She uses Twitter really well, I think. Twitter is something I haven't been able to figure out how to use effectively. I feel more comfortable on Facebook. Is that because I know my audience on Facebook? I know most of the people, whereas the majority of those who follow me on Twitter are strangers. Is it better to reach out to the people I already know or to strangers? Questions. So recently on Twitter, Ms. Coates posted a number of storytelling rules that should be generally followed when putting together a project. In her case, working on a Pixar movie. I think on their own, it is a great list. Good advice for the writing part, good advice for the writer, good advice that suits across the board, regardless of your genre, regardless of it's an animated feature or a kitchen sink drama or something absurd. I think every writer should take these rules, placard them, and put them above their monitor. They're really easy to find on online. Just do Pixar storytelling rules, and there's about a gazillion sites that have posted the full list. And we'll put it on the website too. So I'm a huge Pixar advocate. I stand by what they do and how they do it. I've seen the documentaries about how they started and how they operate and seen their compound. It looks so cool. You get that little voice in the back of your head. Okay. Honestly, I get the little voice in the back of my head. Man, I would love to work there. But Lindsay, you don't do computer animation, so I would still love to work there. I would clean floors at Pixar. There is a motivation to be in the middle of that environment, to believe that you could be so creative, productive, and prolific in that environment. And it's nice to be able to see the way a company works and to also enjoy the product that they put out. And that is not always the case. I recently heard an interview with Ben Folds and really got into hearing him talk about his process and how he makes music and went right out to look for his work, and boy, did it not speak to me. I did not connect at all. So it's nice to be able to say that there are Pixar movies that I adore. A lot of them. WALL-E, Ratatouille, Finding Nemo, Up, Toy Story, Monsters, Inc. And of course, I was excited to see the new movie, Brave. I was really excited. Saw it in the movie theater. 3D. One of the things that comes up time and time again with Pixar is their commitment to story, their desire to tell stories, and not just tell stories, but character-driven stories. If you spend 5 minutes on the internet, okay, I spend 15, but that's because I'm easily distracted. Spend a few minutes on the internet plunk in Pixar storytelling and you will get a ton of bounce back. Here is just a few quote examples. Quote, "We start with the core. It is always the character and the story driven by the character." Quote, "The one thing I love about telling stories is we spend our whole lives going in and out of being better or worse in our own character. But in a movie, the character transforms into the best they're going to be." Quote, "It's been said that the secret to Pixar Animation Studios' success is story. That's the mantra. Story, story, story. And of course, story." Quote, "Pixar looks not just for story artists, but storytellers." Quote, "Developing the story is like an archaeological dig. Pick a site where you think the story is buried, and keep digging to find it." Quote, "One universal guideline that Pixar follows is to make the story organic." Quote, "The team at Pixar is considered to be some of the greatest storytellers of this era. Story, 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 story. It is a big animated anvil. We do story. Story is important. Story is king." And when I first read Miss Coates' 22 storytelling rules, which was before I saw Brave, I was totally and completely drinking the Pixar Kool-Aid. It was like being in the compound. And then I saw Brave. And I put the Dixie cup down. Okay. So from here on in, if you haven't seen the movie and you're planning on seeing the movie and you have nice fuzzy feelings about the movie, I'm going to talk about the movie and say not nice things. Fair warning. Okay. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous looking movie. Gorgeous scenery. The people who worked on the main character's Merida's hair, they must have drunk a lot of celebratory champagne after seeing that hair on screen. It is drool-worthy. And, don't get me wrong, the main character, she is great. Merida is a spitfire. She comes across as a real girl, which is not always easy in animation. She's a wonderful addition to the Disney princesses, which I know that's not what Pixar was going for, but I have a niece who, when she's old enough, I would and will show her Brave because of the main character. But so what? It's nice hair and one great character left in a wasteland of storytelling. The story of Brave is that a young princess wants to do her own thing. She fights her mother, who wants her to be a lady and marry. This fight leads to Merida, quote-unquote, finding a witch who gives her a spell that turns her mother into a bear. And the rest of the movie is Merida trying to turn the bear back into her mother, and she does, and the end. It is a straight line from beginning to end, from the first word to the last. There is no roller coaster, there is no sharp turn, nothing unexpected, no storytelling. This is a wonderful character who never thinks for herself, never figures anything out, never changes. She finds some love for her mother, hooray, but for the most part, she's led by the nose through the whole movie. I'm not sure how that is good storytelling. So, I have here Emma Coates' 22 Rules of Storytelling in front of me, and we're going to go through some of them to see how Brave does not follow many of these rules. Miss Coates worked on Brave, and has thrown these set of rules into the universe, so I think it's safe to say that they are Pixar approved, and that Pixar put out a movie that seems to fly in the face of exactly what they're trying to achieve as a company. And again, they're great rules. I love them. They're awesome. They should be followed. Embroidered on tea towels. Stamped on the walls of buildings. You should write them down and follow them. Go and find them on the internet and laminate them and keep them close to your heart. It's not the rules that falter. It's why doesn't Brave follow these wonderful rules? It flummoxes me, and sometimes it really angers me. Okay, rule number one. Number one, you admire a character for trying more than for their success. So in Brave, Merida is a headstrong, she's smart, quick-witted, agile, she's an excellent archer. She's also stubborn and selfish. And this comes in a head-to-head clash with her mother, who wants her to be a lady. And that is the heart of the movie. Mother and daughter clashes, taken to a super height when mother is turned into a bear. But I never really felt that in Merida's attempts to change her mother back, that she does much to change herself, particularly not in the climax, where mom changes back. I mean, Merida is given a riddle to solve, which she translates as, sew a tapestry back together. And she does, and she throws the tapestry over mom, says she loves her, and that's it. And that is not enough. That is not trying. You know, that is not that's succeeding. That's not, she doesn't really even try. What does she try to do? She doesn't try to be different. There's one moment she stands in front of some clan and it looks like she's going to be what her mother wants, but then her mother tells her not to do that. So there's not even any trying there. You know, when is she truly like selfless? And if we want to admire her for struggling, for trying, when she sets up the tests of skills, we should see her try to do something she's not good at. She's good at archery. She says, let's have an archery competition, and she wins. Again, so what? Rule number 6. I'm not doing all of the rules because some of them apply to being a writer rather than writing. And as I said, they're very easy to find on the internet. Just do Emma Coates' Pixar Storytelling Rules. Look it up. I believe in you. You can do it. So number 6, what is your character good at, comfortable with? Throw the polar opposite at them. Challenge them. How do they deal? And this refers exactly what I just said about the test of wills. Merida is being set up. The clans have all sent their quote-unquote best person, their son, to come and compete so that the person who wins gets Merida's hand. And Merida says, well, if I'm the firstborn in my family, I can compete too. And I'm not sure why this movie wasn't more about dealing with Merida sneaking into the contest of wills for her hand in marriage than turning her mother into a bear. You know, why couldn't it have been 3 days of contest and not just 3 seconds? She certainly wins archery, but what if she also had to compete in other skills that she's not good at, that she's not comfortable with? Jousting, or that thing with the law where they have to take it and lift it and upend it. That would have put her in a whole different world and perhaps shown a different side to herself and have her deal with her, rather than, the bear thing, I can't stand the bear thing. What if she really had to learn what it meant to be part of a clan or to make peace with the clans? Number 7, come up with your own ending before you figure out your middle. Seriously, endings are hard. Get yours working up front. Okay, I know, the ending is so silly. So the ending for Brave is that everyone is happy and Merida loves her mother without changing all that much as a human being. And it seems that everyone changes very little. And I wonder what would have happened if Merida's mother had stayed a bear. How would that have changed Merida? How would it have changed the father, who was pretty much a joke? Number 8, finish your story. Let go, even if it's not perfect. In an ideal world, you would have both, but move on. Do better next time. Okay, even though this is a writer one and has nothing to do with Brave per se, I left it in because it is such an important rule. See, I lied. I said I wasn't going to do any of the writer ones, and here we are. But it's such an important rule for artists. You have to get your work out in the world, and the only way to do that is to finish projects. That is what makes you a writer or an artist or whatever. Finished product in the world, not finished product in your drawer, not half-finished product in your drawer. Things out and being responded to. And trying to make a project perfect before you get it out into the world is an exercise in futility, because nothing is perfect. Never. And revolving in hell while you try for perfection is only going to erode the work. Number 9. When you're stuck, make a list of what wouldn't happen next. Lots of times the material to get you unstuck will show up. Okay, I lied again. Yes, this is a writing one, but it deals with the process rather than with the product. So, of course, I have no idea if anyone did this in Brave. And I left it in because it's my favorite. And I'm totally going to use it the next time I'm working on something and get stuck. What a great way to keep moving forward with a project, even if you feel it's not going well. Sometimes you have to work at something backwards or off to the side to really figure it out. And I love the idea of making a list of things that won't happen to figure out what's going to happen. You know, sometimes just by taking away the won't, you're left with the will. Number 11. Putting it on paper lets you start fixing it. If it stays in your head, a perfect idea, you'll never share it with anyone. Okay, I'm totally on a tangent now. This one I left in because I say it all the time to writers. Writing is the act of putting things on paper. Keeping an idea in your head is not writing. Number 13. Give your characters opinions. Passive, malleable might seem likable to you as you write, but it's poison to an audience. And yes, Merida is opinionated, which makes me crazy because she's not allowed to think her way through the story on her own, which makes me crazy that she has a one-sided conversation with a bear, which makes me crazy because there's no ante to her protagonist. A witch comes, gives her a riddle, and then goes away. The will-o'-the-wisps lead her everywhere. That makes me crazy. Why doesn't Merida decide at one point, I am done with these wisps leading me around by the nose. I'm not following them. I'm going the exact opposite direction. Who cares what happens to me? I have to take charge of my own life. And Merida never does. Even though that seems to be a big part of her character. Oh, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to, win an archery competition, but I want to take charge of my life so I don't have to marry some dumb guy. Why isn't there more of this in other factions? Number 14. Why must you tell this story? What is the belief burning within you that your story feeds off of? That's the heart of it. I do not know why this story had to be told. What I see is, let's make a movie with a spunky female character, and I don't think that's ever what Pixar sets out to do. I don't see a story. I see cool computer animation, which again, I wager is exactly what Pixar doesn't want me to think about their movies. I don't know why it's important that Merida's mother gets turned into a bear. I don't know why any of it is important. Number 15. If you were your character in this situation, how would you feel? Honesty lends credibility to unbelievable situations. Excellent question. At some point, for a character who seems to want to buck tradition, she spends a lot of time doing traditional things, solving a riddle, following the wisps, and so on. Number 16. What are the stakes? Give us a reason to root for the character. What happens if they don't succeed? Stack the odds against. What does it really mean for Merida to lose her mother? I don't know. Why should I root for Merida? I don't know. If mom stays a bear, what will happen? This is not fully explored. I really think if mom's gonna be turned into a bear, I think she should have stayed a bear. Who is Merida fighting against? I don't know. If she really wants to fight tradition, why isn't there more danger at not following through with that? Why is that just seemed like a secondary, fluffy story? Oh, I'm going to win at archery. And boom, that's it. That's the last we hear of it, really. Why not raise the stakes there? Why are the other clans so goofy? There's no danger at all. Number 19. Coincidences to get characters into trouble are great. Coincidences to get them out of it are cheating. And to that I say, why are the will-o'-the-wisps always there to lead the way for Merida, and why does she blindly follow? Number 21. You gotta identify with your characters and situations. Can't just write cool. What would make you act that way? Merida is a great character, and I do identify with her. I just hate every single situation the writers put her in. I had a conversation recently in which the guy said that given Pixar's history, they are allowed a dog. And I disagree 4,000,000,000,000%. Pixar set a standard. They have trumpeted from the hills that they work in a specific way, they have specific goals for their movies, and they have specific expectations of those who work on their movies. And the point of having a manner of working is so that there never is a reason to waver. You know what you have to do. It may be hard, but so what? It should be hard. And Pixar has its own great story. There's this wonderful story about how horrible the first version of Toy Story 2 was, and they threw it out. They started from scratch because it wasn't good enough. Knowing what you want out of your product, regardless of they're allowed a dog, means your work is worthwhile, and I just don't get it. I don't understand at all why this beautiful movie and this wonderful lead character had no support underneath it. And why didn't the movie makers follow their own rules? Okay, question of the day. What is your favorite Pixar film and why? Is it the character or the story that makes you connect to it? And if you don't like Pixar, well, how come? What is it about the movies that doesn't connect to you when you watch them? And that's where we're going to end. That's it. That's all. Take care, my friends. Take care.